What is going on, guys? Welcome to your 29th tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys some different ways to create an array. The first way I'm going to show you guys is how to create an array by you basically tell it how many things you're going to store in it, and then you store the things in it. So unlike before where you do everything at once, this is just a different way where you can create an array. So the first thing that we need to do is create the array and tell it how many items we're going to store in it. So I'm going to make an array called things, and of course you set it equal to new array, and instead of listing all your items in there, what you need to do is just list a number. So I'm going to say 3. This tells our array that we're going to store 3 items in it. So now what we need to do is we need to treat each index like a variable and assign it a value. But remember, we don't start at 1, then go to 2 to 3. Since we're storing 3 things in it, we start with 0, and then we go to 1, and then we go to 2. So even though we said we're going to store 3 things in you, we actually never use the index of 3, just 0, 1, and 2. In 0, 1, and 2, that's 3 things. So in order to assign values to these variables, things, 0, and then you just assign a value to this, like, I don't know, what's one thing? Jersey Shore. Looks good. So now what we need to do is we need to do this 2 more times. So just go ahead and copy this, and just like that, easy. There we go. So things 0, 1, and 2. So we can list Jersey Shore in all of them, but let's go ahead and list Jersey Shore. Brian Regan, that's one of my favorite comedians, and also as a third one, the New Boston. So now what we did is this. We created the shell of the array by basically saying, alright, we're creating an empty array called things, but we're gonna be storing 3 things in it. So what this does is JavaScript says, alright computer, set aside some space, so when he enters the 3 things, you can do it just fine. So believe it or not, you can actually make some code right here and then do it later on. It doesn't have to be right after it, but I just did it right after because I really don't have anything else to code. So just like before, whenever we want to access one of our items in our array, let's just go ahead and print it out on screen. Document write. You do it just like normal. Type the name of your array and then the index just like that. Now whenever you print it out, check it out. The New Boston. So unlike before, say you wanted to make an array and then you wanted to write some code and then you wanted to assign values to those indexes. This is one alternative way you can do this. And actually later on I'm going to be showing you some programs where you need to do it this way. You don't always have the availability to make an array and list all your items in there right as you create your array. Sometimes you have to wait to, I don't know, maybe the user needs to enter information, or maybe you need to go grab it from a database. So you can't always add all your information in your array as soon as you create it. So that's why I needed to show you guys this. Now, the last different kind of way, I guess I could say, of making an array is it's pretty much the same as we did before, but instead of adding a number where it sets aside space, we're not going to add any number at all. And this is going to create an empty array, an array that we can add items to dynamically or change the size as it goes on. So say we wanted to create an array of things that the user likes. But the thing is, we don't know how many things they're going to put, so we don't know the size of the array right now, and we also can't create an array and list all the items right now because, like I said, we don't know how many things they like, we don't know what they like, so we pretty much just need to create the shell of an array. So in order to do that, here's what you do. Go ahead and make a variable and name it like stuff or something like that. I don't know, name your array anything you want. And then, of course, you type new array, but since we don't know how many items are going to be placed in this array or even what the items are, just go ahead and add empty parentheses just like that. What this does is saying, alright, I'm going to create an array and I'm going to call it stuff, but I'm just going to add elements as you tell me to add them. I'm not going to set aside 4 spaces, and I'm not going to add anything to it by default. I'm pretty much just creating an array right now, so later on, whenever you want to use this array, it's available to you. So you can actually, maybe do some random coding. Variable x equals 9. Variable tuna equals 54 or 65 minus 54. and you do all your coding you need to. And then later on, when you say, hey, I actually need to use that array right now, here's what you do. Just go ahead and take whatever index you need to store that value in and store anything you want in it, like Baconator, just like that. Looks pretty good. And then you can do this as many times as you want. So you're not limited to, 4 spots or 3 spots or whatever. You can go ahead and add your items dynamically as you need them. So stuff1 equals old pumpkins, just like that. So now you can see this is a kind of a different way of making an array. Like I said, this pretty much just creates an array that you can use later on. And then, of course, whenever you need to actually use those indexes, you can, just like we have always before, document dot write, and then just go ahead and type the name of your array, which was stuff, and type the index, which was 1, and this should print out old pumpkins on the screen. Check it out, old pumpkins. Pretty cool, huh? So that is how you create an array using the method of assigning space beforehand and also creating an empty array. So now, with all of our information, we know how to create an array 3 different kinds of ways. And you might think, all right, I just use the one whatever works for me, whatever I think is the best. Well, sometimes you can do this, but other times when you're writing a program, you need to use one over the other. It's a lot better too. So keep all of these in mind. Just don't remember one of them and think that you can forget about the other two. So anyways, that's all I have for you right now. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next video.